Hey there, it's the 11th of September 2021 and we're looking down on the West Pacific. There are actually three systems: Chanthu, Konson, and then a disturbance in the Bay of Bengal. These are linked up in a train. We're going to focus in to start with on Chanthu before getting to these other ones, and then to Larry over in the Atlantic and some other things. The eye of Chanthu has now passed the Batanes Islands, which are these islands over here, and is now heading towards its interaction with Taiwan, which is up here. During the day today, the eye of Chanthu passed directly over all three of the main Batanes Islands, so we're going to have to wait and see what damages are reported there. These islands are familiar with typhoons, obviously, but this is a very severe landfall. The storm was fluctuating in intensity and went down to 145 knots, but was 155 knots at the beginning of the day. 155 knots means that it was iota class, exceptionally strong on the cyclone scale. The Batanes are the northernmost province in the Philippines, and they are volcanic islands, quite mountainous, with population of about 19,000. Next up in the track of Chanthu is Taiwan, the formidable obstacle of the heavily mountainous island, and currently the JTWC have edged a little bit to the east and taking the storm to just clip Taiwan on the northeastern side actually. But we're going to be watching out for intensity changes and sharp track changes potentially as the storm interacts with the Taiwanese mountains. Here is the hurricane wharf, for example. The Batanes are down here and then Taiwan is up here. And as we go forward, the storm comes up the east side of Taiwan, bringing a ton of rain into the central mountain range. The storm core remains just offshore by a fraction. It's extremely close. So any slight change in the track and the winds, the strongest winds, will make it onshore to some areas of the east coast. But in this simulation, they're just off. You can see that more clearly if we actually look at the winds. Of course, the hurricane force winds are in the purple, and you'll see Chanthu's tight core moving up the coast and the hurricane force winds remaining offshore. Just tropical storm force winds reaching the coast and then probably just clipping the far northeastern coast with hurricane force briefly. So a very interesting and close call, and we'll have to watch the forecast extremely carefully to see the impacts on Taiwan, but regardless there'll be an absolute ton of rain with flash flooding and landslide risk. Beyond Taiwan, the storm heads north and then it reaches some weak steering around the coast of China, and this is very uncertain, but there is a problem with the storm stalling in some of the models, and that could bring a lot of rain to the Chinese coast, but we'll have to see in the next couple of days how that pans out. Konson, meanwhile, is making landfall on the central Vietnamese coast, bringing a ton of rain as a tropical storm strength system. The European Centre model is predicting over 600 millimeters of rain over the next couple of days with Konson's landfall in central Vietnam, so serious flooding and landslide risk. In the Atlantic, Hurricane Larry has finally made its passage across the Avalon Isthmus of Newfoundland, and it was a Category 1 hurricane transitioning to post-tropical, making it the first hurricane since 2010, which was, the last one was Hurricane Igor that made landfall on Newfoundland. A wind gust of 182 kilometers an hour was reported at St. Mary's Lighthouse, and a storm surge event was reported. Power outages are ongoing. Over Africa, we're continuing to monitor a series of easterly waves that are trundling along the northwestern tropical African ITCZ belt. And we've got one here, and one here. The concern is that there may be tropical development as these move over the eastern Atlantic. The first easterly wave has a weak surface trough that's moving through the Cape Verde Islands over here. This one is not forecast to develop in the European Centre model shown here. The European Centre is keen on developing a second low associated with the second easterly wave, and we'll see that developing down here as we go forward. The GFS does not do this development. However, the ECMWF does intensify it to become a tropical storm strength system that trundles off westward across the Atlantic. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. In the western Mediterranean, a low pressure system has been moving through Sardinia, Corsica, and now into southern Italy. It has brought severe weather to certain areas, with a tornado that has actually killed 2 people on the island of Pantelleria. This system is not predicted to form into a metacane, but rather just bring heavy rain and thunderstorms continuing, and then a little bit into Greece as we go forward into the early part of next week. And on that note, I will leave it for today. Thanks a lot for your support in this channel, this small YouTube channel, and we are doing videos every day now, so I hope to see you tomorrow in the next one.